is not backing down. They're headed to the United States Supreme Court to try and stop the ban that's scheduled to take effect on January 19th. Moments ago, TikTok issued this statement shading the law that bans the platform, saying the TikTok ban was conceived and pushed through based upon inaccurate, flawed, and hypothetical information resulting in outright censorship of the American people. TikTok has maintained that not only is this law a violation of the First Amendment rights of the company, but this law is also a major violation of the First Amendment rights of the 170 million American users. TikTok went on to say they plan to take their case directly to the Supreme Court, and based on the court's history, TikTok fully believes that they will prevail. The Supreme Court has an established historical record of protecting Americans' right to free speech, and we expect they will do just that on this important constitutional issue. We're going to come back to that constitutional issue wording in a second. But as I reported earlier today, once they receive this appeal, the Supreme Court has two options. Option one, don't take the case and just let the D.C. Court of Appeals ruling stand. The justices are not obligated to take this case or any case. In fact, the Supreme Court receives thousands of appeals every single year and only takes about 80 cases per term. So for most cases, getting a Supreme Court hearing is a long shot. Now, if the justices decide not to hear this case, it's over. And option two is for the Supreme Court to agree to hear this case on an emergency basis. This is a very possible option. If the court chooses to go this route, they will likely put a temporary pause on the January 19th ban of TikTok. That pause would then remain in effect until the justices make a ruling in this case. In the meantime, they'll schedule oral arguments for some point this term or maybe even next term. So how do the justices decide which cases to take? Well, sometimes they take cases because lower courts have issued conflicting rulings, so the Supreme Court would settle those disputes. That doesn't apply in this case. But they can also choose to take a case because it poses an important constitutional question or questions. And that does apply to this case. And that's likely why TikTok specifically said in their statement that this case deals with important constitutional issues. Now, this is a very high-profile case that involves the First and Fifth Amendments, possibly congressional overreach, and national security concerns. So the next step is for TikTok to actually file its appeal. That appeal will go to Chief Justice John Roberts because he oversees the D.C. Court of Appeals, which upheld this ban today. Then the justices will meet, as they do periodically, to discuss all the cases in front of them and all the emergency appeals that are pending. And after that discussion, they vote on which cases they are going to hear. It takes 4 of the 9 justices to accept a case. No one ever knows why the justices decide not to hear a case. They never disclose that. So once TikTok files its official appeal, we'll have to see if the justices decide to take the case.